Hello everybody, this is Dr. Gear, and I wanted to let you know that I have gone through discussion number 1, and I just wanted to pass on to you some thoughts on your responses. I did spend some time going through each of them and making individual suggestions. But in general, here are some items for you to think about in terms of the discussion question. First, keep in mind that the superintendent has asked you to come up with a process. With that being said, oftentimes what you posed to me was very general in terms of this would be the process. When you are putting together a plan like this for your superior, it needs to be detailed and have a very distinct path for accomplishment. One thing that most of you didn't include was the idea of a collaborative framework around how to perform this task. A lot of you kept this pretty close to you as the individual doing that. Keep in mind that when you are working with something like software acquisition, it's probably a good idea to use a committee or committees to take a look at these products. For instance, many of you will find out in my feedback to you, I'll talk about the end user and having them as part of the process. Let me give you an example from my experience. When I was superintendent of schools, one of the things we were very interested in doing was upgrading the software that we used for the whole IEP process and keeping track of that with special education. Since there are so many legal ramifications that come about because of that that part of our of education, it's really important that that be managed well. Plus, there's a plethora of paperwork that needs to happen, and it has to happen in a timely process. So what we did basically, and many of you alluded to this, was to research what some of the good packages are. But basically, the idea was that we had budgeted for this the year previously, understanding what most likely the cost would be, and we were always somewhat conservative in the fact that we would blow up that number to some extent so that we would know we would have enough money. So with that being said, we would have these committees taking a look at these and come up with some recommendations. Keep in mind that if these are good software packages, that the sales reps will oftentimes allow you to use them in the field. So what we would do is we picked 2 of them that were probably the leading 2 products in the field, and we basically got samples of those, put them in the hands of our end users. That, in this case, it was clerical personnel and our special ed teachers, and they actually used this software for a bit, and they came up with a recommendation. This has some strength using a process such as this, because then those folks can't come back and basically say, well, we weren't consulted, or if they had talked to us, we would have come up with a different recommendation. And if you think about it, these are the people who are going to use this software every day, so we really should be listening to their recommendations. One of the things that a lot of you are talking about is the whole budget cycle. And one of the things I'd suggest you is keep in mind that the budget is a planning document. It is built the year previous to purchasing. So one of the things that you, as the person in charge of this project, either you're going to be handed a number from the budget, or you're going to have to come up with a number that will be put into the next budget. Or what will happen is money from other line items in the budget have to be moved over into this software line. So obviously there are a couple different ways this can work, but the budget is certainly a big manifestation of how this all works. A couple things to keep in mind with software is, one, scalability. How well are you going to be able to get this product moved across your entire organization and will it work well in various enterprise solutions. Maintenance of it, improve, how will it be updated, all those things need to be considered. And one of the things that you also want to make sure is that it operates well and connects well with all of your other software packages. For instance, most of the time what we're using in our office is our Microsoft Office. So a great example of this would be, does this software package allow you to upload spreadsheets from Excel or databases from Access without corruptive types of situations occurring? Lastly, a lot of you talked about the decision-making process around finally deciding how to purchase this software. And one of the things that wasn't clear often is who makes that decision. Well, oftentimes what you would do is you'll end up making a recommendation to the superintendent. The superintendent basically makes this type of decision. Oftentimes they'll rely on, obviously, the recommendation of the user groups and you as the manager who was put in charge of this process. Some of you mentioned the Board of Education. Generally, they're not involved in the decision-making process. All they will do is approve the purchase. Just some suggestions on this type of question. Some of you just kind of regurgitated to me either something that you found on a website or the Reboard textbook. Keep in mind that what you want to do is now take this and think about it in terms of the reality of your organization, your school district, or your school, and how would you make this recommendation, and how would you apply what you learned in terms of the discussion and the various resources you use to the various unique external and internal environment of your own organization. Well, with that being said, that's discussion one. A lot of you need to be thinking about the details in this process. It was very, I would say, if I was going to generalize, very general in the way that you approached it. So think about, in a plan, it's really, and I mentioned to some of you, the devil is in the details. With that, I'll be turning my attention to your resume and cover letters. Keep working along, don't fall behind, and I'll talk to you again soon.